Hello subscribers. You know how in a relay race one runner passes off the baton to the next? Well, this is my baton to you. The last 2 years I've been sprinting my leg of the relay race, and before I collapse I need to hand some things off to you. This will probably be the last time you hear from me, at least for quite a while. So I want to do 3 things in 3 parts. First, explain to you why I'm bowing out of the race at this point. Second, preview the book for you so that you know why, if you haven't ordered it already, you'll want to go order it today, and why you'll then want to convince 10 others to do the same. Third, a game plan for how to get the book to sell out before July 7th, the release date, and why that's so important. Alright, here's the deal. I'm done. My race is run. If this starts to sound like too much of a sob story to you, then just skip ahead to part 2, the sneak peek. This is my second I quit speech in a year and a half. This one better work. This is my letter of resignation. Please accept it this time. How you go about actually doing that, I'll tell you in a second. But first, the how come. For the first time in one place, here's the whole story. 2 years ago, in the spring of 2007, I decided to go half-time teaching so that I could be with my kids while they're still young, 3 years and 1.5 years at the time. But then I posted the most terrifying video you'll ever see on a whim to offer to the world my brainstorm of that silly little grid. The marathon sprint began, and ironically, I've spent way less time with my kids in the last 2 years than I did when I was teaching full-time. First was the 3 follow-up videos produced rapid fire to answer people's objections to the most terrifying video you'll ever see. But people weren't finding those, and having fixed the holes poked in my silver bullet argument, I seem to now have a really waterproof argument. I couldn't just let it sit there without getting it out of my hands and into the world's hands. So I spent that summer scouring the internet for every single objection that I could find to my ideas, and then I spent that fall working through the nights, teaching during the day, and not seeing my family in order to produce the 7-hour-long How It All Ends project. It was the most grueling experience of my life up to that point. It took everything I had just to complete it, and it pushed my health and my family to the limit. Before I was through with the How It All Ends series, I ended up in the emergency room with chest pains, being checked out for a heart attack. I was completely out of energy by the end of it, but my mission was done. I'd at least given the world my full analysis, and it was up to the world to do what it would with it, so I could quit. But then the media picked up on the success of the most terrifying video, and I needed to deal with all the repercussions of that for a few months. By the end of that, at the start of that, I was already out of energy, so I had to muster and find energy reserves that I didn't even know I had. After that was done, I spent a month or 2 trying to recover while still teaching high school and foolishly picking up a community college course along the way. And then my wife and I decided to entertain the offer that I'd gotten of turning the videos into a book. We could use the money, and we figured I'd already written a book's worth of video scripts. Because the issue is so time sensitive, with possible unknown tipping points in the climate, I chose to write the book in just 15 weeks, trying to get it out onto the market yesterday. Our plan was to just repurpose the video scripts into a book with minimal effort, and bring in some income to compensate my family for the time I'd already taken from them over the previous year. But when I started researching for the book, I saw how much more dire the science had become in the intervening months, while at the same time, polls showed fewer Americans being concerned about climate change. So my perfectionist personality took over, and I frickin' wrote the whole book from scratch. But what do you do when you've already exhausted all of your energy, and then you went through the energy reserves you didn't know you already had, but you haven't made it to shore yet? You keep going on sheer willpower. Near the end of writing the book, I often thought that I wouldn't make it through, but I was not at liberty to quit. I got the manuscript done on time and thought once again that I was finally done, for real this time. But then, the editing and publishing process was light years more demanding than I'd anticipated, so yet again, I discovered that I hadn't reached the shore yet. So then what do you do when you've exhausted your energy, and then exhausted the reserves you didn't know you had, and then burned through all your willpower, but what must be done to safeguard your family is not yet done? Only this last week did I fully realize that that was the role of the Red Bull and snooze that I picked up during the process. I used ridiculous, unhealthy amounts of the stuff. When I was on deadline, I would go through a case of 24 cans of Red Bull in 24 hours. I got lesions on the insides of my lips by having so many packets of snooze constantly crammed in there. The chest pains came back, but no more trips to the ER, just a 10-minute nap and back at it. I got so little sleep that my wife and colleagues became concerned that I was bipolar. It was insane. I'm embarrassed to even talk about it. So when I finally posted the book trailer a little over a week ago, my wife and kids left town for a week to visit Grandma. I knew that I had to take the opportunity to get off the stimulants cold turkey once and for all. And that's when I realized I'm done. I've got nothing left. I've hit the final wall of this marathon sprint. Because when I took the stimulants away, it became clear that no energy or reserves or willpower has had a chance to replenish. So I realize now that with no resources left, I just need to walk away. I need to let go and take care of my health. I need to finally give my wife and my kids the time they deserve, but that I've denied them for the last 2 years. And I need to feel content with that. Even though there's so much still left undone, I need to feel content that I've done all that I reasonably could. When I was making the How It All Ends video series, one song by Dave Matthews got me through the whole process. It has a line that's been constantly running through my head for the last year and a half. Did I do all that I could? If you've watched the How It All Ends videos, in particular The Nature of Science, you probably realize how hesitant I am to make any confident predictions about the future. But I've discovered one prediction that I can make with confidence. If we do end up in that bottom right corner of the grid with a destabilized climate that we could have prevented but didn't, I at least won't have any regrets that I should have done more. I will at least be able to look at my 2 beautiful daughters and say, I am so sorry it turned out this way, sweethearts, but I did all that I could. That thought brings me some comfort and peace of mind. Still, it would feel tragic to me to falter while I still have ideas to offer for how to change the national debate over climate change. So I've gone back on the stimulants for one last day to give myself the energy to hand off to you the ideas and suggestions that I've still got left for what you can do if you are so inclined. My goal, which is what I'm handing off to you right now, is quite simple. For us each as individuals and collectively as a nation to make thoughtful, prudent decisions when the stakes are high. That's why I want to see us build in some safety margins, because we might always be wrong no matter what we choose. Here's how I dream it will work. This is a chemistry demo I sometimes do in class when we're talking about supersaturated solutions, but the science isn't important here. What's important is the dynamic. When the solution is all set up just right, all it takes is the introduction of one little seed crystal, which shows the bits around it how to organize, and those bits show the bits around it how to organize, and those show the ones around them how to organize, resulting in a rapid and wholesale change of the whole shebang in a stunningly short amount of time. This dynamic happens in other areas as well, like when a few pebbles set off the avalanche, or Rosa Parks sparked the civil rights movement. When the situation is all set up, small, seemingly insignificant actions can have huge and sudden consequences. This book is my best attempt at making a seed crystal, and you all are the solution. And that's how you accept my letter of resignation that I'm so desperately presenting right now. You take the ideas in this book and my videos, and you use them, critique them, fix them, modify them as you see fit, and above all, work on proliferating them. That is what I see as the solution to the issue of global warming. For everybody, beer chuggers to latte sippers, to be able to make their own prudent, confident decision that leaves some room for error in how to best safeguard our tomorrow in the face of an uncertain but potentially devastating threat. And the amazing hopeful thing is, with the interconnectedness of the internet, it can happen without heroic effort on anyone's part. 2 years ago, I took just a few days to make the most terrifying video, and as of now, over 7 million people have seen me draw that decision grid on a whiteboard. That is amazing, from one average guy. Imagine what happens if a bunch of people try. We don't need a genius or a hero. We just need 1 million people trying 1 million different things. Now go watch The Baton Part 2, the sneak peek, to see if you think it's really worth buying this book and then asking others to do the same. Based on the reviews I've gotten so far, I think you might. Thanks for listening. It's been an excruciating but amazing 2 years, and I think we've done something unique in developing this system together. And now, I'm handing it off to you. I'll keep up the website gregcraven.org, and in part 3, I'll describe what you can expect to find there as time goes on to help you out. But pretty much, It's all up to you now.